These concepts, all three of these approaches are not mutually exclusive. They are mutually supportive, and they should be internally consistent with your go-to-market strategy, your product marketing strategy, your vertical market strategy, etc. Good? Okay. So, just a quick overview. When we talk about search engine optimization for a web page, right? So I have a specific page that I want to now optimize, and I want it to rise in the search engine rankings. Some of the top considerations, well, branding isn't really a top consideration, but going back to the point I made earlier about the relevance of your site and the relevance of your page really being the way that you should approach your internet marketing strategy. First and foremost, before you think about, I want to do great in the search engines, and everyone does, your goal should be to offer value to the internet. And if you do that, you're going to get good results. To that end, your site needs to be well branded. We're using consistent colors, consistent fonts throughout our site. This image aside, might not have been the best page to show, but you want to make sure that your brand is consistent, your fonts are consistent as mentioned throughout your site. Branding is key. Now the title, we're not showing it here, but the title element is that which shows in the top of your browser bar. That's under the hood a little bit. We'll get into that a little bit more in a minute when we touch on HTML. Your navigation system needs to be seamless. It needs to be visible. This is what we call a top-level navigation system. It's a horizontal navigation bar, and when you hover your mouse over it, it has drop-down menus. You can also have in-page navigation like we've seen here. But your H1 heading is another critical piece. H1 stands for header 1. Header 1 is, these items, title, navigation, H1, body text, anchor text, image alt text. These are all the elements that comprise the web page optimization. These are the elements. Now, inside your body text is going to be all of your content. And inside your content, inside your body text, you might have some anchor text. And that helps to the overall usability and the navigational capability of your site, because now you're giving people multiple abilities to get through your site and get to different areas of your site with content that's related to that theme that's specific to a certain page. Anchor text is indexed and picked up by the search engine spiders, so you want to take that into account. Image alt text, that's alternative text. So if, for example, this image was somehow offline, what would show in its place? A lot of people leave that blank. You don't want to do that. You always want to have alternative text to display if in the event that image becomes unavailable. Rarely happens, but it does fortify your search engine optimization strategy, because it's another opportunity for you to put those terms that you're looking for into your page. You don't want to overload it, and we have tools that help us to identify a good balance between all these elements, but you certainly don't want to leave that value null or empty. 1 second on the question, okay? Now when we talk about syndication, what we're looking at here, right off in that little spot, I know it's hard to see, that's a tool, and you guys can use this as soon as you go home, called Add This, one word, ADDTHIS. And what that is free. You go to Add This, you sign up, and what that gives you is the ability to plug that little snippet of code into your site. That's it, copy paste. And now when I hover my mouse over it, it'll give people the ability to share my content integrally. It's all integrated on Facebook, Dig, Twitter, StumbleUpon, you name it. It's seamless sharing of my content. And you share it with one person. I'm dating myself here, but remember that old Revlon, I think it was commercial? And they tell 2 friends and so on and so on. It's the same thing. It goes viral. The content will go viral. If people like it, it gets shared, and then other people share it, and before you know it, you're getting all this additional traffic to your site. It's free. There's no reason not to have it.
Add this?
Add this, yes. ADDTHIS, all one word.
My question was, what's worth more in the search engine rankings? Is it text, is it graphics, or does it have to be a mix of all?
Content.
Content.
Absolutely. Yep. Content is much more. Content is king. Yeah. Your content needs to be relevant. It needs to be, again, it's a fine art. It's not just about stuffing your content, with words or phrases that you think are going to optimize you for the search engine. You certainly want to have instances of those words in there, and that's part of the process. When we get into the process of search engine optimization, we deep dive into it in the internet marketing class, the intro to web marketing. It's a process. You want to make sure that it's balanced correctly, so it's as pleasable and as valuable to the human visitor as it is to the search engine.
Meaning the ability for the search engine to be able to understand not necessarily what you said.
The question was, the gentleman asked the ability for the search engine to understand what it is that you're representing, and that would be yes. The search engine spiders that Google has developed are so advanced. I mean, they have some of the most brilliant people in technology. Marissa Mayer is the VP of product search for Google. And, I've listened to her speak a few times, and her team is responsible for all this good stuff. They really are way ahead of the curve, and that's why they're number one. And they protect it. They're definitely defending the market share. Question?
Yeah, so will you look at our websites and make suggestions?
Well, feel free to visit us. Are you going to be going to the exhibition? Yeah, we have a booth set up, booth 51. Stop by. Yeah, I have everything. Brochures. Yeah, we have everything. Thank you. All right, so meta description, right? We're going a little bit under the hood here. What is a meta description? Meta, it's a tag. It's an HTML HTML hypertext markup language. I'm getting a little ahead of this, Maddie. Don't yell at me back there. I know it's another slide. But HTML, hypertext markup language, is the programming language, and the browser is the compiler. The meta description is a tag, and HTML is comprised of a bunch of different tags. The meta description, meta is a tag, description is a value. And the description, your meta description, is that which shows in your search engine results. So there's the page link, there's the page URL, and there's my meta description. Now that's under the hood. If you omit your meta description when your page is created, you're going to end up with random text showing there, and it's not going to be pleasing to the end user. Because if I see our page search promotion, all right, I have a message there. That's what I want to. You have control over that. There's no reason to throw caution to the wind. If that value is left blank, what you're going to likely end up with, it's going to pull first your H1 heading. If that's not there, it's going to pull your first opening body text. And that's going to have to be there, or else it's not a web page. But you're going to end up with unpredictable results in the search engines. So we positioned for the term paid search promotion, and we got a #1 rank. And to go back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier about organic search results and paid search results, see here, this is paid search results. This is the organic search results. Now, in any organic search results, when you arrive at that page, you want to have a clear call to action. And I think we had mentioned that earlier, but that's more for the internet marketing. Call to action is obviously submit your information. You want to have an appealing call to action when people arrive at your page, if it's a direct response. So if you want to capture their information, you want to have a clear call to action, guide them to what it is that you want them to do when they arrive at your web page. Make it as easy as possible. Another question?
Where and how do you
And we'll go into that in a minute. I'm going to show you. I'm going to actually show you the code.
Real quick, difference between HTTP and HTTPS is secure. And
SSL.
I've been told to always go to link HTTPS, but very few are have SSL.
Yeah, that's
Big sites don't have SSL yet. Is that something you're going to worry about?
It's not really a difference between big or small sites. HTTPS is a different port on your server. It's port 443. And the S in that stands for SSL, Secure Socket Layer. If you go to any bank website or any other financial transaction website or any other website that's capturing information that may put you at risk by submitting it just to a standard port 80 HTTP address, you're going to see that S on the end.
Oh,
and
for normal web browser, you don't have to worry about that?
Well, if you're going to be conducting online transactions, not so much about capturing users' information like first name, last name, business, email, but if you're going to be grabbing people's credit card information and you have an e-commerce aspect to your website, you're going to need to have SSL. It's about $20 to buy an SSL certificate. It's a little bit more difficult to implement. Yeah, or Google. Google has a new product. It's called, I don't think it's new, but it's becoming more visible. And I think it is new. Google Checkout. So, yeah. So what you can do is, rather than buying an SSL certificate or undertaking all of the work that goes into writing the code to make sure that you're conducting an online transaction most efficiently and securely, Google Checkout, sign up. You guys want to buy my stuff? And they even, I think where they productize it is similar to Google custom search. Like, you don't have to build a search engine in your website anymore. It used to be a big challenge to build a website, to build a search capability inside your website. You'd have to have your pages specifically indexed, all the content. Google offers us something for that now as well. It's called Google Custom Search, and they give it away for free, provided that you allow their branding to propagate through your website. For like $20 a year, you can remove their branding and make it look like it's your own search. And you can massage the search results to look like your own. Out of the box, they're going to look like Google search results embedded into your website. So they're offering everything. Another question in the back?
You still need that SSL though, because in this industry, they pass through name, address, passcodes, and confidential information. So usually you should open an SSL anytime they move that, but you can't use checkout unless you buy. Just normal updating of information. You got to open up an SSL.
Yeah. And the industry has evolved to this point. You sound pretty savvy. The industry has evolved to the point where,
Not that savvy.
Yeah, well,
You say savage? Come on. Obviously, you know them for a long time.
Yeah. No, it's gotten to the point where the technology and the implementation of the technology, I should say, has become, it's become so simple. You buy the SSL certificate from your provider. It could be GoDaddy, or it could even be a mom and pop provider, that you've been doing business with. One of the folks that we've used for the guys in California is Silicon Valley Web Hosting. They're very helpful. They do the work for you. They install the certificate. They do it as part of their service. And for the customer, for the company, the only thing that they have to do is install a snippet of code that the vendor provides to them, and it's done, and connect it up to your back-end data system that conducts, that takes the money, and your bank account and your routing number or whatever, and it's done. So it's pretty easy. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it was just perfect.
Excellent. All right. So, someone asked, what's the most important thing with SEO? Content. Content is king. Content, again, I know I'm beating a dead horse. I've been saying it over and over, but your content really needs to be relevant to the product, services, and the customers that you're trying to serve. Yeah. Okay. So going into video content. Video content, we mentioned before in the context of performance that YouTube now offers all this good stuff up for free of charge. This is an example of the code that YouTube, I was going to say Google, it is Google, because Google acquired YouTube. So since Google acquired YouTube, I used to be very skeptical about using iframe. iframe long since had a history in the industry as being unreliable. It wouldn't size correctly, it wasn't compatible with all versions of different browsers, etc. I trust Google. I think that if Google is using it and YouTube is using it to embed videos across the entire internet, then it's probably safe to get back in the water. And so we've started using it over the course of the last year, and I can state from experience that we have not had any negative feedback. The performance is fantastic. The implementation for us is simple. And again, for the customer, the bandwidth is amazing. You have the most powerful servers on the planet Earth, aside probably from NASA, at your fingertips and working for you. Why not use it? Free. Here's an example of an embedded video. And one of our customers went on AdHoc's website in California. So this may not be the exact code, but it's very similar to the code that would be generated to embed this video. And that's it. So I take that snippet of code, I place it in my site, and that's what I see. So I can play that in stream, right? Click to play right there in the browser. Or if I click the YouTube icon, I can play it on the YouTube